You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 23. I'm Nicholas Prom.
And I'm Spencer Valdez.
Okay, so this episode is Spencer's catch-up episode.
Yeah,
We're all caught up on books we've been behind on, and of course comics from this last week as well. So,
yeah,
a lot of books.
29 at count, right?
Something to that effect. So we're just gonna dive right in. With DC Comics, we've still got more Zero issues. We promise this is the last.
It is
the last vestiges of Zero Month.
Yeah. They made so much money off of this.
Well, and here's the thing: it's not like these were in addition to the regular monthly books.
Yeah.
But it's a great jump-in point for anyone who's curious for a book.
Absolutely.
I think as a marketing ploy, it definitely worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I guess we're going alphabetically here.
Yeah.
Or something. We're going to start with Aquaman number 0.
Yeah, this one I was dying to read because I just can't get enough of Ivan Rice's art.
Yeah. Jeff Johns' writing.
Well, yes, he's a favorite.
Right. I super dug this. I've never given Aquaman a fair shake.
You and a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of us haven't.
But
this story, with the New 52, he's BA, if I can use that kind of language, you know?
You can. Yeah, he's awesome. I mean, they give him it's like they've Namorized Aquaman a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's all right because that's I think what he was missing. He needed just to be a badass.
Yes.
You know, and he can be. He's proven that he can be a badass and he is.
Yeah.
So Aquaman is great.
This story relies heavily on the art. This Zero.
Well, it's not dialogue heavy. It's visually telling the story, a lot of it.
Yeah, and I totally dug it. Yeah. I flew through it, but I had to go back and look through it again and again because it was such a good story and the art was top notch.
Yeah. It's funny, they haven't really changed the origin so much.
Oh yeah.
Because you know what, this wasn't what was broken about Aquaman.
Yeah.
It was just like he needed to be somebody with a little more cojones, you know, and he's a character that was a little, below, a lot of people's radar enough that you could do that. You couldn't do this with Superman because you can't play with Superman so much.
Yeah.
You're not going to make that man any darker.
Right. If you do, he's a bad guy.
Well, right. He's either going to be a supervillain or a cornball, and so Batman's right where he needs to be. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, but with Aquaman, it's good. You can look at what they tried to do with Hawkman. Clearly, they're trying to do that with him too, and failed.
Yeah.
Don't put anything in the hands of Rob Liefeld that you love. Yeah. I wish Jeff Johns had done Savage Hawkman instead. I probably would have liked the book.
Oh yeah.
But anyway.
Anyway, great book. If you want a cool Aquaman, which
he exists.
Yes, and it's right here in the 0 month issue of Aquaman.
It's every issue.
Every issue
of the New 52 Aquaman. These are excellent books. Gorgeous art, and killer fights with a black manta.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on, we have the Red Lanterns.
Number 0. And you were telling me you didn't like this.
I'm biased. I'm very much all about the Green Lanterns. And so whenever...
Oh, so you other Lantern Corps are like, blah.
I haven't dived into the New Guardians yet. And so with that, I'll probably be like, cool, these guys are great. But Red Lanterns, the story wasn't there for me. It was the
origin of Atrocitus.
Yeah.
And I liked it. It was so dark, and it needed to be.
And it's totally brutal.
Yeah.
And I get it because it's Red Lanterns. I get it. However, after the Rise of the Third Army arc is over, I probably won't be picking up.
So you're committed to 4 months and then no mas.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will see if Peter Milligan can change your mind. He's writing this.
Let's hope he can. You know? But as of right now, it just doesn't seem. It doesn't seem cohesive with what the other cores are trying to achieve.
Right. And are you because it's a whole another ball of wax.
Right.
And are you comfortable reading a book that it's the and I'm gonna use air quotes, the heroes are bad guys? This is the supervillain book.
That's a good question. I wish you'd asked me earlier because I didn't have an answer.
Sorry for putting you on the spot there, Spencer.
No, it's obviously an interesting perspective, where the good guys, air quotes, are willing to do stuff that typical heroes aren't.
Yeah.
You know, where you just brutally destroy someone if they're causing you problems.
Yeah.
And so it'll be interesting. And I think that might be why I'm weary of it. Because when I think of a hero, I think of someone who's willing to go to a certain point, but then will have to stop themselves.
See, I can read this and get down with it because the Red Lanterns are established as these are the bad guys and they're doing bad stuff.
Okay.
If this was the heroes and they were behaving like this, it would be like, what is this, Image Comics 1990s? It's like, okay, Blood Strike or whatever your awful team of killers is, but no thank you,
Right.
But for this kind of thing, it works. I enjoyed this.
I mean, interesting origins.
And yeah, and you don't fault Atrocitus for becoming what he does.
No.
Really.
No,
I mean, the Manhunters
the Guardians
killed his family.
Yeah, I blame the Guardians.
Yeah.
Like we should.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was cool.
Yeah, he has 4 months to prove it to me.
And that's a pretty fair testing ground.
Absolutely.
This Rise of the Third Army should be a pretty sweet arc. Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting to see how the Red Lanterns,
fit into it with,
Oh, yeah. So. Yeah. All right, so what about the Justice League Dark?
Yeah, I've been wanting to get into this. I haven't because I don't know John Constantine very well. I don't know Zatanna very well. I don't know these characters very well at all.
Love Zatanna.
And so when they're getting a 0 month, what better place to jump in,
Right.
And so I picked this up. We were both kind of interested in this, right? In picking this book up. I dug it. Cool introduction to the two of the main characters, Zatanna and John Constantine. Mm-hmm. And it gives us background on, their relationship, their background, their history. And, I mean, honestly, it was a great place to start off.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I've been accused of, hating on John Constantine, and that's not true. I just don't... He's not going to be like, oh, I'm going to buy the book because he's in it. He's not a selling point for me. That's why I never read Hellblazer. I'm like... I told a friend of mine, and I was like, that to me, he's a supporting character, always. Because I remember him from Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. And he was very cool. He was an important supporting character. That's where he was introduced. Mm-hmm. But to me, reading, I never read Hellblazer because I was like, well, why wouldn't I just read... That's like reading a Maxwell Lord or a Henry Peter Gyrick, solo book. Why would that guy have his own book?
Right.
To me. Uh-huh. But Justice League Dark, I'm like, does Zatanna, who I love, and Deadman.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Deadman.
It's maybe time for me to rethink, checking that book out. Right. So.
And, I mean, still, he might be more of a main character, but he's in a team rather than focusing strictly on John Constantine.
Right.
So, yeah, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I dug it too.
I'm
good.
Excited to pick up the normal issues to see where they're heading.
Indeed.
So, tell me why you're picking up Supergirl.
Why am I? Because my girlfriend. But this was a good Zero issue. I dug it.
Yeah, totally.
It was cool.
This is Supergirl number 0. Michael Green. Do you recognize him?
No, I don't know him for anything.
He did a good job, I felt.
Yeah, it was a well-written issue. I liked it. It's going back to Argos, back to Krypton and Argo City and that origin, and that's cool.
Yeah, and it was interesting because we have Zor-El, Kara's father, pretty much kind of doing the same kind of thing that Kal-El's trying to do for... Not Kal-El.
Jor-El.
Jor-El's trying to do for his son.
And yet Jor-El and Zor-El do not... They're not get along. They're rivals in the Science Council and all that jazz.
Yeah, and so it was. I found it interesting because they're both trying to protect those two people they love the most.
I think Zor-El was kind of living in the shadow of Jor-El and kind of meh.
Yeah. So we have Zor-El sending Kara off to orbit a yellow star until he can either save her or the pod opens or whatever it did. And yeah, it was interesting. We have a cameo with Superboy,
which is confusing. Maybe it'll probably make sense if I was reading Superboy or Supergirl prior to this, but yeah. It was just kind of like when we in the Superman Zero issue where Superman showed up.
Right.
It was like, what?
Yeah.
It was maybe it was like watching history tapes or crystals or whatever.
Maybe
that was it.
Sense.
That would explain it in the Superman Zero, but why Superboy was here in this was like
right because he was actively participating.
Yeah, it was weird.
Well,
weird. Yeah. It was a temporal distortion or something.
So next we have Nightwing, number 0.
Yeah, Tom DeFalco, mainly of Marvel Comics fame, writing this. I dug this.
Yeah, cool story.
He's writing Legion Lost as well, which we'll talk about later.
Oh yeah. I was wondering. Yeah. So this is
Wonder no more.
This is Dick Grayson.
Indeed.
And we have his origin of becoming Robin.
Yeah, which is tweaked very slightly, but it's basically the same.
I thought it was going to be more him developing into Nightwing rather than him developing into Robin. Because I feel like we kind of all know that Robin story. Well,
here's the thing.
Well, the Dick Grayson Robin story.
The New 52 starts with him as Nightwing and, Damian becoming Robin.
Right.
So, and, Tim as Red Robin. So, to go back and establish that, yes, in the New 52, Dick was, in fact, the first Robin, that's important.
Yeah.
And so I can see why they would do that.
I agree.
Just like, yes, there are things that are shared with the previous DC universe.
Okay.
Here. So yeah, I enjoyed this issue.
Yeah.
This was good.
And, I mean, it's always nice to see Bruce Wayne's lighter side with how he cares for people, even when he has that dark, brooding Bruce Wayne Batman guy.
Right. Well, it's good that he has a dimension of not a lighter side, but he's capable of tenderness or whatever.
And that's due to Alfred.
You smack you. I finally tracked down Batwoman number 0.
You did.
And I dug this.
Yeah, I didn't know really anything about her until you started talking about her.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, this is really informative. Very, I felt, dialogue heavy. I mean, not even dialogue, just monologue heavy.
Oh, yeah, this was definitely, if you were going to go by word count, hey, this is definitely worth your $1.
Definitely.
Or your $3. Is it $3?
Yeah, $3. $3.
That's right.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. But it was, whatever. If I read a comic, then there's like almost no dialogue or captions, where it's very minimal. I feel cheated because it reads so quick.
Right.
I don't mind a comic that's, hey, words?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so this is kind of like a letter to dad kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a remembrance and letter to dad. It's kind of told in a flashback style, but it's really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Cool training, cool. She has like this cool drive that, I mean, her hurt is still just throughout her story.
Yeah. Like a James T. Kirk kind of pain.
Right.
So
yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good. Got Superboy number 0.
We did.
Because of that upcoming crossover that I think I may be reading. Tom DeFalco is writing this as well. So I just kind of want to window in, like, what's the deal with Superboy in the New 52? Similar to what we had in, previously, like, he's a clone of Superman and Lex Luthor, even though in the New 52 they haven't said that.
Yeah.
But that's basically what it is.
It's coming to. Pretty sinister, though, with the story of
the clones on Krypton.
Yeah. These guys were crazy, and being the memories and the I'll use air quotes, evil being put into the Superboy's ID.
Yeah.
His
He's being
identity.
programmed to be a weapon to destroy Superman, really.
Yeah.
Or the world. So it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things going here. I'm not like, oh man, can't wait to get this next one, but I'm intrigued enough to like, my interest is piqued.
Right.
Okay, there's stuff there. So.
Yeah. That's an interesting book.
Yeah. So
That's
no more zeros.
That's done with 0.
Let's get into Before Watchmen.
Yes.
Dr. Manhattan #2.
Yes.
Man, I tell you, this is just a win-win for me. Great writing from JMS, as some people say, J. Michael Straczynski, and beautiful art from Adam Hughes of Fables fame.
Okay.
Him and Frank Cho probably like draw women more beautifully than anyone working in comics today. But
this cover, it feels like the throwback that it's supposed to be.
The cover, it looks like it's a tribute to Wally Wood.
Oh yeah.
And in 50s, science fiction comics. So
yeah, definitely. We have basically the Schrodinger's cat storyline thrown into this story. The cat in the box. You don't know if it's alive or dead.
Right.
This whole quantum physics thing.
Yeah.
And so we have the fractures in the time being broken.
Right, and we see
two different
we get to
outcomes.
See what would happen to John's life had he not had the accident.
Right.
And this is how John sees everything. He's seeing other possibilities at all times. He's seeing future and past at the same time he's experiencing the present.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
How
is that omniscience? Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah.
So I thought the coolest thing was the two newspaper headlines where it said where the White House was like blowing up because of the Cuban Missile Crisis, and the Cuban Missile Crisis being averted because the comedian went one way and then they sent Ozymandias the other way.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. Yeah. And then the JFK assassination that
JFK. Sorry, I won't do that.
Cool story. Cool. Like, if you're gonna read any of them, this has been my favorite story, I think.
Yeah,
of the Before Watchmen.
And they're really good. And it's so funny that as I'm going through and reading these, I'm finding that the Watchmen characters are kind of based on the Charlton heroes that DC acquired, right? And they were like, we're going to do something different with them. So these are kind of a pastiche of those characters. Rorschach being the Question, and Night Owl being Blue Beetle, Dr. Manhattan being Captain Atom,
right?
Ozymandias being Peter Cannon, and so on. Oh, and Comedian being Peacemaker.
Mm.
Yeah. But I'm realizing that it's not just like Dr. Manhattan has a lot to do with the Martian Manhunter. He reminds me a lot of John Jones.
Okay.
Not just the Mars and going to Mars thing, but being alien in a human world, and and the name too, John and John.
Right.
So I think there are more parallels. I'm realizing there's a bit more Batman in Ozymandias than you think. Things like that.
Yeah,
I
can see where you're going with that.
And so I'm looking deeper to like, okay, if they're not just those Charlton heroes, is everyone kind of a double up,
right,
with a major DC character? And I'm watching for that. I'm looking for that now. So that's making it a little more interesting.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I love this story. This is just brilliant. I mean, this is the height of comics beauty. This is there are people who are like, oh, how can you go back and do these stories? I'm like, touch these characters again. It's, but honestly, some of these Before Watchmen books are like they elevate comics to a literary level, like Watchmen did, and like The Dark Knight Returns did.
Oh yeah.
So to me, that the theory that this somehow cheapens the original Watchmen doesn't hold water.
Those people can shut it. These books are doing Watchmen a good service. Like, they've not taken anything away from that original story.
No.
If anything, they've enhanced it.
Oh, absolutely, they have.
And those people are just talking nonsense.
All of these are. This is a massive treat for anyone who loves those characters.
Yeah.
So yeah. So.
Moving along into just the regular DCU.
Yeah.
We have Green Lantern number 13.
And you got that variant cover, the sketch cover,
yeah,
didn't you? The pencils.
I really dig these. With the full front and back page sketch. So it's the continuing story of Simon Baz.
Yeah.
As the new Green Lantern.
Indeed.
And now he's dealing with
being on the lam.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out the powers.
Mm-hmm.
And the repercussions that this is having on his family.
Yeah. But then we also have a look into what the Fed is seeing, the federal government is seeing with this establishment of the Green Lanterns on Earth. Like, they know Hal Jordan, who's kind of a loose cannon pilot guy. They know Guy Gardner, who was an ex-cop, who they seem to trust.
They know about John Stewart.
They know about John Stewart, who was a Marine, who they're like, if Earth has a Green Lantern, we want this ex-Marine to be...
Well, right, because they think, oh, he's a government man, you know, whatever.
But now that this accused terrorist is Green Lantern, they have no idea what to think about it, and so they call in the big guns.
Yeah.
And so we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, next issue is going to be a big deal, we'll just say that.
I was thrilled with that ending.
I know. I was like, oh, I want to read the next issue right now. But yes, very cool. Very cool.
How do you feel about the new Green Lantern? Like,
you know, I haven't spent enough time with him yet. You know what I mean? We saw him in the Zero issue, and this, he's still just kind of, we'll see how he goes. I mean,
it's going to be an interesting take on the Green Lantern story.
Yeah.
But I'm going to miss Hal Jordan.
I know, me too.
You know, we know that he's not dead.
We know that we feel he's not dead. I don't think he and Sinestro are done.
Right. And so it's going to be an interesting take on what happens with that ring.
Yeah.
Oh, and then when the ring was kind of telling him his new mission with the intermixed Sinestro and Hal Jordan.
Yeah, the back and forth, like kind of trying to telling him stuff.
Right, because it is part of Sinestro's ring, but it's also Hal Jordan's ring, and so I feel like that was meshing together, and it was.
Wait a sec, I was just thinking, were they in the Matter universe or the anti-Matter universe when they were air quoted? When they were killed, Hal and Sinestro.
Oh, I'm not sure. It could possibly be the anti-Matter.
Because if they're in the anti-Matter universe, and it was just the one ring, because Hal didn't have his ring, remember?
Right.
Yeah, the one that Sinestro constructed.
Right.
Maybe it's a kind of a false dead, so to speak.
That's what. Yeah.
Oh, I could see that's how they're.
Yeah.
I'm on to you, Jeff Johns. Okay. So, World's Finest, number 5.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you, if you weren't buying this, I wouldn't be.
Oh, no?
I wouldn't be reading this.
Yeah, this one was...
I mean, it's okay.
This one let me down a little bit. I thought the Zero issue was cool, and the ones prior to it were cool. But this one felt just like another... kind of like a passing story.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's like, where is this book even going?
Yeah.
You know, that's what I feel like.
We know that they want to get back to their Earth.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like they're making much progress on that.
Right, and it's just... This just feels like a really meandering kind of book. I mean, and I love everybody that's working on this. I mean, Paul Levitz is writing. Jerry Ordway did some pencils on this issue. George Perez is on here. You'd think I'd be just, all over it. But I'm very lukewarm on this book.
Yeah, and I wanted to get better because I don't want to have to drop it, but if it doesn't in the next couple issues, it might just be.
So you say maybe you're going to give it to Christmas or give it through the new year?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
So we mentioned this book earlier, Legion Lost.
Yeah.
This is one I'm picking up. You're picking up Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah, I'm going to get that. I think that comes out Wednesday, so I'm going to get that. As our agreement.
Right.
I said when we read the Zero Wishes, say 0 month worked.
Yeah.
We said.
This was a cool place to jump into this universe. I know we had the Zero issue,
right,
but that was a bit different.
Right. That was just kind of spotlighted on Timberwolf.
Right. And so with this, you don't know that. Like, I didn't know the characters very well, but diving in here was just fine with me.
I mean, at least we saw Dawnstar. I remember from reading Crisis on Infinite Earths, but yeah, I kind of knew some of these characters a little bit, like Tellus and Wildfire and stuff. Tyrock. So these Legionnaires. Yeah, there's some cool stuff. And it's interesting. They're trapped in the present. They're from the 31st century?
Yeah, 31st.
So...
Well, it's interesting to me because they're trapped here, but it seems like people are still able to go back in time.
Yeah, but they themselves are not able to get back.
Right.
So, yeah.
So
somebody comes back in a time bubble and they were thinking it was a rescue mission and it's not.
Right.
So... Yeah. That's all I'll say about that. This was pretty cool.
Yeah, I dug it, and I'm glad I'm picking it up now.
Yeah, me too.
Because
I enjoyed reading it, so,
new characters are always fun. They're always, for me, they're hit and miss, but this...
I don't think I'd read, this year, I don't think I'd read anything that Tom DeFalco had written in at least 10 years.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, if not that. So it's kind of, it takes me back in a good way. I remember reading, his stuff that Spidey and Thor stuff that he was writing in the early 90s. Good stuff.
So you want to explain this one?
Okay. DC's got this thing, there's a series of one-shots that will be coming out that are kind of connected to these, I hope I'm saying it right, Kami girls statues that are like, I think the statues themselves are, I guess, anime-looking, but I'm sure glad this comic wasn't because I wouldn't have bought it.
Right.
But they're all spotlighted on, like, women of DC Comics. And I bought this one because I knew it was going to have the art of Amanda Connor and this is a Wonder Woman one-shot. And I'm glad I did. Based on her beautiful art alone, this was worth the entry price. My only real complaint was she did about 2/3 of the art. 2/3 of the way through it changes and does a different artist. And I've been seeing this. DC does this with when they have a guest artist on a book. It seems like they'll do the first 2/3 of the book and then somebody else will do it. Like that Batman number 12 that we picked up where it had Becky Cloonan did the art. Right. And remember the last third was some other artist. Right. The art was good, so it was fine. But the artist was really looked very different and much inferior. I noticed the shift, and that disappointed me. But it was pretty good. Jimmy Palmiotti, who he's a veteran of comics. I think I'm trying to remember what exactly I read of his, but I remember him. So he's been around for a while. But I enjoy this. I don't know if I'm going to get the other one shots. It's going to be a series of them. I think.
Who's up next?
Batgirl.
Batgirl. Okay.
So, and I think this is existing outside the New 52, and this is just kind of its own thing. This was cool.
Yeah, I found this story interesting because it's kind of origins why Wonder Woman came to America.
Right. If you're a Wonder Woman fan at all, buy this. If you're a fan of Amanda Connor as an artist, absolutely buy this because seeing her draw Wonder Woman is just a treat. Just beautiful, beautiful stuff. So
it's a one shot, but there's going to be this kind of little arc that goes through all the different characters, and so.
But the impression I got that they'll be fairly standalone.
Oh yeah.
But there is kind of an overarching thing going on there. So yeah.
So I finally got to pick up Phantom Stranger #1.
Yeah.
And it's just cool. I don't know why I never read anything by him about him. I don't know why. I have no good answers.
Yeah.
But that Zero issue and this one, totally down.
Yeah.
I'm totally down for it. This is the #1 issue.
Yeah.
So Zero.
This was cool. I was confused as all crap.
Right.
But it was cool.
Right. And so you mentioned, okay, so we have Phantom Stranger, and so you mentioned...
And he's helping Raven,
the
daughter, Teen Titans, daughter of Trigon the Terrible. I think that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what's going on in this story. And it was cool because I didn't realize at first who she was, and they were like, oh!
Right. Yeah, and so, I mean, he's doing his penance, and so he has to deliver Raven, air quotes, because that wasn't her name in this.
Right. She wasn't called that.
Right, yeah, but to her father, and he drops one of the coins. And so,
yeah.
Interesting story. Weird kind of twist at the end.
Yeah.
I hope it kind of explains it. Yeah. But I'm going to continue to get it. Because
I'm hoping this series fulfills the promise that Zero issue showed, because that was the best.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, definitely that was just awesome. Mm-hmm. That one really sticks out in my mind from Zero month. So, Green Lantern Corps #13.
Yes.
Let's talk about this. Man, Guy Gardner.
Yeah, it made a Sentinel. Was that what it was?
They created the Guardians created a new rank for Guy Gardner, and it was we knew this was coming. He was going to get this.
Right.
And so as kind of a leadership role above other Lanterns. Well, it's all part of their plan to dismantle the Lantern Corps, and boy, they have set a trap for him and the other Lanterns.
Yeah, they did.
And he played right into their hands. So it's going to hit the fan next issue. I'll tell you that.
What was cool about their trap was they were using Guy Gardner's
loyalty.
His loyalty, but his
thinking
brash,
on his speed.
His brash actions against him.
Yeah.
And it worked perfect.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him. I used to think Guy Gardner was the biggest tool, but Green Lantern Corps he's so cool.
This is my favorite. I mean, this is one of my favorite books, to be honest. I look forward to this one. The way Peter J. Tomasi writes Guy Gardner is just awesome. He captures all of that attitude that you expect, but also makes him really, really cool. You really like him.
Yeah.
There's this... You get a balance. There's been some growth in Guy over the years, which is good, because if he continued to just be that a-hole, that would be boring, because it's just, treading water, or is that spinning? That's not the word.
Spinning
his tires.
Yeah.
Like mixing metaphors here with this?
Treading tires.
Like, I don't know.
But yeah, the Guardians. This war seems impossible to me. For them to fight, the rise of the Third Army.
Yeah,
it seems impossible for them to fight.
Well,
and so it's going to be a cool story, because they're going to have to use all of the different corps, the blue, the
well,
red.
Right. It will. I'm looking forward to seeing how this will resolve itself.
Yeah.
And we're just getting started. This is going to be 4 months across 4 titles. Kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
So, but I'm into it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And John Stewart. Oh, John Stewart sent off to save Mogo. Yeah.
Mogo's coming back, gang. And we think.
Yeah.
But then again, is it a trap because the Guardians sent him?
Right.
It could be crap. So who knows?
Yeah. So next up we
got some Batman to talk about.
Yeah.
The Batman, the Death of the Family story arc crossover has begun.
Yeah. And I don't know if I've ever read a creepier Joker.
Woo! Yeah, this was pretty jacked up, yo.
Yeah. You mentioned while I was reading it, when you were reading it, that you were hearing
Mark Hamill's
voice in your head, and that just makes it way more creepy.
He's the definitive Joker.
Yeah.
I mean, no one can touch him.
Right. And the art in it is wonderful.
I love Greg Capullo on this book.
It's wonderful because it just makes everything so creepy.
Yeah.
It seems kind of gritty, and then when you get the Joker, I don't think we see him at all.
You don't see him really until the very end.
Right.
Which is typical, but you don't see him full on, I should say. You see him in the book, and he's, whoa. So this isn't a sleepy book by any means. This is definitely, I don't know what word I was looking for.
And so, previously, apparently the Joker's face had been cut off.
Yeah, he had somebody cut his face off.
Right.
So he comes back and gets it.
And starts wearing it around again.
Yeah, and it's kind of messed up, man. Let me just say that.
And no matter how annoying these kind of flaps are on the front.
Oh, these covers are the die cut kind of thing where you kind of, it's Joker face and you peel back, oh, there's Batman behind there.
Yeah. It's just extra kind of nonsense, but it is so creepy.
Yeah.
I don't want to read it at night. I'll be honest.
You don't want to read this at night. That's funny. So continuing with that, we got Batgirl number 13.
Yeah, and I mean, Babs.
Here's the thing with these Joker covers, though. I thought these covers looked almost identical. I almost didn't get this. I thought that that Batgirl hadn't come out, like it was a late book or something. So this is and isn't a good marketing play.
Right.
However, let's talk about this issue because it's really cool.
Yeah. So it's Babs Gordon.
Babra.
And she's what was her name? She was fighting Nightfall. Was that?
Yeah. It's so funny that her costume totally looked like the spoiler from previous DC-ness.
And so it seemed like Nightfall was like exacting her own form of justice on a guy who killed her family.
Yeah. And it was pretty horrific what she did to this guy.
Yeah. And I don't know, those stories are always interesting to me because how quickly could Batman turn into that? How quickly can Batman?
It shows that there's a line and that there's, a difference between...
There's justice and then there's vengeance.
Right.
And no matter how vengeful Batman seems, there's always a line of justice in what he's doing and in what Batgirl does.
Vengeance, there are times where you can say, oh, this is justified, but there's taking that too far, too.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And so, there's... In comic books in general, there's always that question of the black, the white, and the gray.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this is a good example of the black and white, and then the gray with Barbara seeing, I could be this girl if something bad happened to my family.
Mm-hmm.
But I have this training from my father, who's a commissioner, from Batman, who toes that line, but never crosses it.
Right.
Because how many times could Batman have just killed the Joker?
Plenty.
And he hasn't. He's let the system do its job.
Yeah.
Even though the system doesn't.
Yeah. But you know what I mean. It's...
Yeah.
So yeah,
totally dug it, yeah.
I'm so amped for this. This was like, when I decided, I'm like, you know what, I gotta be reading more of the Bat books. Then this happens, and I'm like, oh, man.
And so we have Batwoman in here as well. She kind of... Cavalry?
What the hell are you talking about?
Doesn't she come in at the end there? No, not there. Just a little farther back. Come on.
Batwoman does show up. That's right.
See, I'm
My
not
bad.
So crazy.
Batwoman and, I believe, Detective Renee Montoya.
Yeah.
Who...
I think that was mentioned.
Who, prior to the New 52, had become the Question.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But that's gone now. So,
right.
So
another kind of tie-in. Something that's going along the same lines, but is...
It's occupying the same time. even though it's not technically part of the Death of the Family.
Right.
It's another Bat book.
Right.
It's Batman and Robin, number 13. And this is the book with Batman and Damian Wayne. Peter J. Tomasi, who I enjoy, writer of Green Lantern Corps.
Yep. Cool book. I really dug the 0 issue of Batman and Robin, where we saw the training of Damian by his mother and just how that could be construed as kind of evil with her just like kind of torturing her son. And in this, him having a, what was it, $500 million
yeah, the League of Shadows or League of Assassins or whatever they are. They've got a $500 million bounty on Damian Wayne's head.
So he's always having
who's even Deathstroke's gonna be like, no, thank you. You know,
right? It's I mean, who wants to kill a kid? Like I don't, but you know,
I don't even know about that. But yeah, it's just like screw with somebody that close to the bat.
Oh yeah,
unless you're cray.
Yeah.
So
it's him kind of developing into Robin and Batman kind of taking on this role as mentor as Batman, but then also father as Bruce Wayne Batman.
Very cool.
Yeah. And
definitely Batman is off looking for the Joker, and there's this other thing going on with people becoming zombified, and this is where Damian kind of takes center stage here. He also thwarts a would-be assassin, someone who's out for that bounty.
With a rat, which is cool.
Yeah. And I don't know who that villain was, but he was weird looking. He looked like a frog monster, man.
Yeah.
Anybody out there want to email us, like, who's the frog monster man?
That'd be great. It's comic.reflections@gmail.com.
Correct. So yeah. It's a good book.
Yeah.
So, let's move on.
Batman. So this week premiered Arrow on the CW,
which we should stop and talk about for a minute. But let's talk about this. We got a little free preview book of the Arrow comic series that's kind of go along with that show.
Yeah. So we have a Green Arrow book.
But then there's not. Yeah. But then I'll also be Arrow the book. Right. So.
I didn't dig. I love Green Arrow.
Yeah, he's rad.
But that book, I didn't.
That 0 issue didn't make me want to buy it, and I don't think I didn't like that artist, but I don't think that was the regular artist on the book.
Okay. But I didn't feel the story was there either. So if that's the typical writer, I don't want to read that.
Yeah. So I wasn't too into it.
But this, so it's the same universe as the Arrow TV series.
Right. So it's not New 52, nor is this any other permutation of DC universes.
Right.
It's just TV verse.
Right.
But this was a good read.
Yeah.
I read and felt really cool. I mean, like, it's a worthy to check out comic. I mean,
this is the Green Arrow that I wanted.
Yeah.
When the 0 issue came out.
You were hoping for this?
Yes, this kind of...
Because I felt like the TV series was going to be basing mostly on New 52 anyway.
Right.
So, yeah, I see what you're talking about there.
And so, after reading this issue, which, I mean, it wasn't much at all. It was like a short car chase.
Yeah, just a few pages.
Like nothing big.
Yeah, it's a preview book. It's a little teaser.
But after reading this is the Arrow book that I'd probably be picking up.
Cool.
I want to pick it up. And there was that cool nod to Denny O'Neil and...
like a street corner was like Adams and O'Neil. I'm like, yay!
That was... I dug that.
Yeah.
And, yeah, this is the Arrow book I'll probably be picking up when it starts coming out on a regular.
Yeah, so we'll have to check previewsworld.com or whatever, see when that's...
Right, yeah.
I'll keep my eyes peeled for you on that one.
Cool. So that's our DC book.
This is all the DC stuff. Boy, we got to... pick up the pace. This show is going to go a little long.
Yeah.
And we got to...
Yes.
We got to turn it up. Oh, before we we're going to go over to Marvel, but before we do, let's talk about Arrow, the show.
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
A bit soapy. For my taste. But I guess that's CW for you.
Yeah. I mean, if you remember Smallville,
I never really watched it.
Okay. That was the same network.
Yeah.
And it was a bit soap opera-y.
Yeah.
But that's also where Buffy came from.
Yeah.
And things
I mean,
like
but
that,
I felt like I was watching Falcon Crest starring Ollie Queen. You know, like Lorenzo Lamas is the Green Lantern or Green Arrow. You know,
it was I dug it. I like the show a lot. I see what you mean where it was kind of brooding and
yeah.
But I mean, he did just come back from 5 years waiting to exact his vengeance.
And it was pretty cool. I'm just kind of waiting for this to become the Ollie Queen that I know.
Right.
But the action was good. Mm-hmm. It was well executed and very cool.
Parkour, kind of jumping and diving and catching and swimming.
Yeah, this is definitely entertaining television.
Yeah.
And I know Deathstroke is going to be a villain on the show.
Yeah.
I saw he's going to be in episode 5. We saw Don't Blink You Miss It. You saw his mask on the island where Ollie was marooned. So I'm like, what's going on with that?
Right.
But that should be cool. But I don't know. I'm like, I was disturbed that he killed henchmen that came after him.
Yeah. It wasn't just he straight murdered them.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's a bit of a difference there, and he straight murdered them.
And I was like, superheroes don't generally do that. And the Ollie Queen I knew wasn't a killer.
Right.
So we go way back, you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and so maybe this is the kind of direction that we're going to be going with Arrow. That he's going to be a little more, you know what? Sometimes you have to kill.
Well, and I feel that sometimes you do. Like Captain America kills guys.
Right.
Because it's like you shouldn't just be callously killing guys, but it's when the villain gives you there's no other way to stop them, and it's just sometimes that yes, you have to kill the bad guy.
Right. And
but
why
should it be all the time? No.
Right.
It should be your last resort, but it should be on the table.
Right.
But Ollie just killed the crap out of those guys.
Yeah. Broke necks and which it's interesting because we just talked about Batman not crossing that line of not killing the
Batman doesn't kill guys.
Right.
Who is so dark and hardcore.
Yeah.
Like Green Arrow?
Yeah.
He's killing guys?
Yeah.
What?
He's kind of a smart ass kind of guy, Not
kind of.
Not let's murder you.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's definitely a very, very different take on Green Arrow. But the show seemed cool. I'm going to keep watching it, so we'll see what goes on. So, anyway, let's talk about some Marvel comics.
Yes. We don't have as many, but we're working on that.
Yeah, it's going to be okay. Yeah. It's not like we don't read any Marvel books.
Yeah.
It's just we just read a lot of DC books.
Yeah.
So,
Avengers End Times.
Well, that's just the storyline. It's Avengers number 31.
Sorry.
So, but yeah, Brian Michael Bendis. It's first of his last couple issues on this book.
Mm-hmm.
Cool stuff. It's kind of like in the wake of Avengers vs. X-Men. This is kind of neat.
So we have.
It looks like they're going to rescue an Avenger that's trapped in the microverse, and I think it's the Wasp, who I think.
Okay.
Which would make sense to me.
Uh-huh.
Who would previously, it's like, isn't the Wasp dead? So, I mean, I think it's the Wasp.
Okay.
But it could be somebody else.
And so we have a bunch of cool characters in here, obviously. We have Wolverine, Hawkeye, Spider-Woman, Red Hulk, Vision.
I love Spider-Woman.
I think she's kind of involved with Hawkeye here.
Yeah, which I was like, what?
Yeah.
That was news to me. I didn't know anything about that.
A fight between Red Hulk and
Wonder Man.
Yeah.
So.
Cool book. I enjoyed it. I'm bummed that we haven't been...
I wish Spider-Woman would just get together with Spider-Man, because...
Makes sense.
Here's the thing. That's the problem with Spider-Man. If you're a superhero, you got to be with somebody who's also super type.
Right.
Otherwise, it's like they're just going to get murdered by some supervillain to get back at you.
Yeah.
Or something. There's always that. And that's just like,
Mm-hmm.
But it's like over in Justice League, it makes sense that Superman's with Wonder Woman now.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense that, okay, Captain America, his woman, Sharon Carter, she's an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Uh-huh.
Perfect sense.
Right.
But stuff like, I got a girlfriend who's a model. She's going to be killed.
Sent into an alternate dimension.
But yeah, I mean, I would just, for some reason, I just would like to see the Spider Peeps.
Spider Peeps.
Yeah. But anyway, I do love Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, so I'm a sucker.
Cool story.
Yeah.
Captain America 18.
Yeah.
Ed Brubaker.
Kicking the crap out of Hydra and stuff.
Yes. Finally, we're getting... Glenn Beck's getting the crap beat out of him.
It's not really Glenn Beck, but yeah, that was just their plot. He was just the pawn.
That's fine.
Robot Glenn Beck, because remember the guy was...
Oh, yeah.
They created Hydra created like that life model decoy.
Right.
But yeah, Cap and Dum Dum and S.H.I.E.L.D. just kicked the crap out of the bad guys.
Yeah.
And the Falcon's there.
Yeah.
And... Yeah.
He's just, like... For me, he's just
and Baron Zemo?
Cool. He's just too cool. Or Falcon.
Yeah, I like Falcon.
He just swoops in, picks up some dudes.
He's going to be in Winter Soldier, Captain America 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cap, Falcon, and Bucky. Cracker.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for that movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, by the way, Baron Zemo's in this issue, too. So he's been allied with Hydra.
Mm.
But, yeah.
I think we have some final, resolution with this arc.
Yeah, this arc's over, and then the next issue is going to kind of be an aftermath or whatever, but
right,
something. But very cool. Dug it. Cap beats the bad guys.
So we have 2 Invincible Iron Men, part 5 and 6. 5 and 6
of the future. So it's a 525 and 526.
Yes.
Man, this is a good book.
Yeah.
Man, this is a good story.
I'm so happy I started picking it up.
Iron Man teams up with the Living Laser and Whirlwind and the Blizzard. And they turn on the Mandarin. And it is battle for 2 issues.
2 full issues. Yeah. And I didn't think they could do it. Honestly, I thought something terrible was going to happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, Iron Man prevails.
Plus, they just get surprise help from these Asian super teams that come in, superhero teams that come in kick the crap out. The Dynasty and
Triumph Division.
Yeah,
Triumph Division.
Yeah, it's like Southeast Asia and China's versions of Avengers or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, they come and basically the Mandarin gets his ass handed to him.
Yes, he does.
And good because he's a douchebag.
He deserved it.
Yeah, and he deserved it. But this story's not over yet.
No,
we got repercussions.
Yeah, major.
Stain crossed a line that Tony wasn't comfortable with.
Right.
But you know what? I kind of agree with Stain's.
Again, sometimes you just have to kill the bad guy.
Yeah, and I'm confused. I think the Mandarin's dead. Spoilers. I think the Mandarin's dead.
We can't confirm it. It looked like he died.
He looked like he fried his brain.
Yeah.
So smoke was coming out of his head. His eyes looked like they were cooked.
Right.
I'm pretty sure he's dead.
Let's hope.
Yeah, because he's a douche.
Good story. Pick up the future.
Hey,
I think it's going to be
we're
7
headed for
issues.
the future. I think there's one more part of that. So yeah.
Yeah.
So big news. Okay, Marvel Now has begun.
It has.
With, and the first new series out this now is Uncanny Avengers, and it's kind of this co-op team of Avengers and X-Men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
You want to talk about this?
I do.
Go. Rick Remender is writing it. He's also going to be writing Captain America, I believe.
So we talked about which Marvel Now books we wanted to pick up.
Yeah.
And
I was really trying to convince you to get this one because I didn't want it.
Yeah. And I'm going to be picking up
All New X-Men.
All New X-Men.
Which I actually really want to read that.
Yeah.
Brian Michael Bendis is writing that.
Yeah.
And it's the time displaced original X-Men.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool X-Men.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. There's been X-Men that aren't so cool.
Right.
And so. But this book I enjoyed because we have Wolverine doing a eulogy, basically.
Yeah, because Professor X is dead now.
Yeah.
You knew this has happened, right? You've been on the...
Yeah, I'd heard. I didn't know how or
Cyclops killed him.
Yeah. And so we have this...
Cyclops has become Magneto.
Oh, really?
In a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
not literally.
That character, yeah. The bad behind the scenes kind of...
Well,
not even behind the scenes.
He's become that mutant terrorist.
Right.
You know?
So we have we have Wolverine doing kind of the eulogy, and then flashing to Cyclops in this like cell, talking to his brother. So Scott,
Alex Summers,
Summers, and Scott Summers. Yeah. So, sorry. Cool book, and I mean the reveal at the end, who is the
villain that's coming up.
Is
well, I mean,
so
I
exciting.
knew though.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I knew it was going to be the Red Skull.
Okay.
Which that was going to be like, oh, I want to read it because it's the Red Skull. Man. Very cool.
Yeah.
And what he's doing is just ghoulish.
Yeah.
I won't spoil that.
No.
But yeah, there's some conflicts as, the X-Men and Avengers members kind of getting together to try and put this new team out there to kind of do more for mutants. Because the Avengers felt like they hadn't done much to help them.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
So, Winter Soldier, you read this more
recently than you did?
More recently than I did.
Honestly, I'm getting bored with this book.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, wow, awesome. And I'm just like, I'm ready to drop this.
Oh, he's one step behind him again.
It's like, how long are you going to milk this? He's just some guy. It's not like some major supervillain.
Right.
It's not like it's Dr. Doom. Right. It's not like it's the Red Skull or somebody that would be believable. It's just some spy guy.
Yeah.
And I really don't care anymore.
I'm going to keep giving it a shot.
Are you going to, finish this arc, you think, or...
Yeah, if it doesn't get any better, I'll end it. But I'm hoping it'll get better, and the next arc will be...
I mean, Hawkeye's helping Bucky out now.
So that's cool, but...
Yeah, this has just really lost the steam.
Yeah.
And I love Ed Brubaker, but this is...
Yeah.
Kind of doo-doo-y.
Yeah. So, we got Hawkeye in...
The previous issue? What do you mean?
No, I'm just in the issues that we just read. We have him in this. We have him in Avengers.
Yeah.
We have him, we have him around. I love the Hawkeye books that are coming out by Matt Fraction.
Yeah.
It's just teasing me.
Yeah.
I want that new book to come out, number 3 to come out right now. I
think it's coming out this week.
Is it? Okay.
I think.
We'll have to check Previews World.
Yeah, that's where I always go. I do my picks 2 weeks in advance on Previews World. It's very nice. Yeah. And I go in with my little laundry list every Wednesday, right when the store opens, and I get my books.
Yeah.
And I'm happy.
Yeah.
And I smile. So
I'm gonna give it a couple more weeks or
a couple more issues.
And if it doesn't get better, I'm bummed because Winter Soldier's cool.
Well, it was a rad book there for a while, but this is just like. They're just dragging ass.
Yeah.
Sorry, but
so that was our Marvel books.
Yeah.
We have 2 Valiant books.
Yes.
Do we ever have anything bad to say about these books?
No, it's like that they're not coming out frequently enough.
Yes.
It's like when a week or 2 goes by and we don't have Valiant books, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But
this week we have Bloodshot and Archer and Armstrong.
Bloodshot and Archer and Armstrong. So which one do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about number 3, Archer and Armstrong.
Okay.
Archer and Armstrong number 3.
I knew what you meant.
Cool. This.
Now I like this book, but it's of the 4 that are out now, it's my least favorite. I like the other 3 titles more.
Okay.
But I dig this. I'm not dropping it anytime soon.
Right. We talked about this a little bit, but I love that there's connections to each
little mentions to other things going on in the other books, like the Vine from Exo Manowar mentioned in Archer and Armstrong, right?
And then in Bloodshot we had Harada mentioned.
Yeah, from over in Harbinger. So it's good. This is a universe that they share time and space with each other.
Right. Yeah.
And we'll have interactions with them.
Yeah.
I'm excited because I think, okay, we know Shadow Man's coming out soon, and I'm like, okay, we'll check it out.
Yeah.
But then I feel like Eternal Warrior and Ninjak aren't far behind as the next titles to be coming out. Eternal Warrior is the brother of Archer, excuse me.
Okay.
In Archer and Armstrong, and then they're both immortal guys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about story here.
Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, back to Archer and Armstrong.
So they're collecting these pieces of the boon that are supposed to harness great power.
Yeah.
And now Archer is going to have to start fighting his brothers and sisters.
Armstrong is.
Oh.
Now, Armstrong is the kid.
Oh, okay.
Am I wrong?
You're wrong.
Am I crazy?
Yeah.
God, I can't even think. This is how bad I am. I just can't. Which one's Archer and which one's Armstrong?
Archer is the kid. Armstrong's the drunk older guy.
Damn it, you are right. I should think. Archer has the crossbow,
yeah.
arching. Armstrong's brother is the Eternal Warrior.
Okay.
See, what a poser I am. You hear me?
It's okay. We'll forgive you.
It's not my favorite Valiant book, so I'll make that my excuse.
So he's going to have to start fighting his brothers and sisters, which is going to be weird because they're all brainwashed by their crazy cult family.
Mm-hmm.
Armstrong is going to... I really like the sister Thomas Aquinas, who kind of was like, you know what, you need each other.
Yeah.
You need that balance, and
right.
You know, you're going to be Armstrong's moral code, and he's going to be the one that's going to help you let loose.
Yeah.
So
I do like the buddy cop feel that this has. It's pretty cool.
And I think that's why I dig it so much, the buddy cop.
Because you love those movies. Yeah. Like, the 80s and all the buddy cop movies.
Right. However, I've never watched any of the Lethal Weapon movies. Putting that out there.
I don't think I've really seen them either, to be honest. I think I saw part of one of them.
When I think of buddy cop movies, that's...
Well, I was thinking like 48 Hours.
Oh, okay.
Although, technically Eddie Murphy's character wasn't a cop, but you know what I mean.
Right,
those kinds of movies. Yeah, Archer and Armstrong, it's good. It's a good book. But what's an even better book for me is Bloodshot.
Yeah,
this book is great.
Yeah. I didn't enjoy it as much when those first couple issues, but now super cool. We have like a little team forming. They're
we'll see how long that lasts, but man, all I want to say is it's just excellent.
Yeah,
it's excellent.
Yes, it is. We have Pulse and Bloodshot kind of teaming up. Pulse, if you remember, is the EMP girl who can kind of set.
I'm surprised that she's not a member of the Harbinger Foundation.
Yeah,
but she's too young, probably.
Oh, okay. But she's activated, so that's interesting.
Yeah. Good call on that. So that's interesting as well. Maybe we'll see her in the future. But boy, is this book good.
Yeah.
Bloodshot, the bad men that used him are on his trail still, and but he's taking the fight to them.
Yeah, he is.
And excitement is sure to ensue in issue number 5.
Yes.
40 King, this book has been nothing but excitement. This is just
They storm the castle in the next one.
Have fun storming the castle. So, but yes, let's move on. Let's talk about Conan the Barbarian, number, 9?
Yes, from Dark Horse Comics.
Dark Horse Comics.
Part 3.
Part 3 of the Border Fury storyline.
And I think this is kind of
it's the end of the arc.
End of the arc, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool end. Made me really feel bad for the bad guy a little bit.
Well, it's that empathy that you feel. It's kind of like the Batman villain thing. Like they're all tragic in their way, you know. So, but this was rad.
Yeah, I'm glad you've been picking it up because I've never really had much exposure to Conan.
Yeah.
And this is just a great way to dive into that storyline.
Yeah, I mean, in this, Conan is hunting down to kill the crap out of this imposter who has been killing in his name.
Uh-huh.
And we learn who that person is, and that we get the backstory on, like, this was Conan's friend from his childhood.
Yeah.
And excellent reading.
Yep. So from 12 Gauge Comics, we have
Anti number 2.
So if you remember,
I sure don't, but
it feels like
barely.
a couple months ago.
I think we picked up
the first issue, which was it free? Was the first?
It wasn't free, but it was a $1.
Oh, $1,
which was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
But then it's pretty like number 2, then goes straight to $3.99. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That's a hard sell, you know, like.
I don't pick up many $3.99 books.
Right. I mean, $2.99. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But $3.99, you have to think about it.
This one, it's interesting. I like the story. I thought the dialogue was crap.
Did you?
Yeah, I thought it was very, very, very predictable, and everything they were saying, talking about.
Yeah, like, you don't believe me?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like, yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
You have a shotgun pointed at me. You know, like, it was very predictable. However, the premise of the story is cool. I like it. And so I'm gonna give it a couple more. But
yeah, it almost feels like it's super similar to Archer and Armstrong, but without the fun.
Yeah.
And not as well written.
Yeah. And if it doesn't get better, I'll cut it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think, you're going to give another issue?
Yeah, maybe one or two.
Yeah?
Yeah.
See, I'm like a guy, I'm like, oh, I have to complete a story arc.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I mean, like, I hope maybe it was just this story that the dialogue sucked. Hopefully it'll get better. But see, I want to read it.
I don't see where this is going to be like, it's going to be an arc format. I see it's like something that just continues and continues, like Walking Dead kind of thing. Right. It just goes on and on. So it's just like, if it just feels stinker for a couple more issues, I'd be like, all right, just time to go with this. Right. But, I mean, it's okay. Mm-hmm. It's an alright book. I wouldn't be buying it, but I'm glad I got to read it.
Yeah.
So
we have the Doctor Who special in 2012.
Yeah, it's their annual.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, there was like, what, how many, 4 or 5 different stories, different artists?
Yeah.
And writer teams. I want to say Mark Waid wrote a story in this, too.
Len Wein.
Oh, Len Wein.
Len Wein did.
That's what I was thinking. I love Len Wein.
He did the first one, Infestation.
Yeah.
That was just fun.
Yeah.
All of these were fun because it's Doctor Who. And,
yeah. And Doctor Who is rad.
Yeah.
Man.
It is.
Wait, that's from IDW.
Oh, yeah, it is. Sorry. Yeah, cool pop art on the front. And then each story has different interiors for the artist and different artist and author.
Yeah, so that was real cool. But then the very last story is the creative team for the current series has just started.
Oh, okay.
You haven't read the number 1 of that just yet.
I haven't.
We'll talk about that on the next issue. I think number 2 is coming out Wednesday, so we gotta finally be caught up. But this was our catch-up issue, so that's why it's a little long.
Yeah.
I kind of... Let me look at this for a second.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, Andy Diggle and Mark Buckingham. I believe that's the creative team for the new series.
Okay.
I know the art is Mark Buckingham. I don't know if he's writing the current series, but yeah, this is a fun annual.
Mm-hmm.
The price tag was a little heavy. $7.99 is a hard sell, even for Doctor Who.
And we love the Doctor.
Yeah, both of us are Whovians, so yeah.
Yes.
So our last book is also of the episode is also an IDW, and this is really cool. It's Haunted Horror #1, and what this is, it's reprinted Golden Age horror stories from the 50s, and this is before the Comics Code and like all this stuff. These are the stories that put parents on the edge, that kind of thing. And this was really a really fun read. You read this today.
Yeah.
Tell me, I gotta get some of your thoughts. I've loved Golden Age horror comics for years and years.
Just creepy. They weren't that. For me, horror is max murderer coming through the door, chopping you in half. Things like that.
Okay.
But this was creepy and fun, and I mean, obviously it's fairly predictable, but
this isn't Shakespeare.
Right. But it's just mind-numbing, creepy goodness. Like, you read it to make your parents angry.
Wow, okay. I didn't get that vibe. I mean, I read it for the enjoyment, because this is really fun comics.
No, I get... What I mean is, I get the feel of, back then, they were reading this, oh, Mom doesn't want me to read this,
Oh, okay.
And I dig it. It was a lot of fun. The stories are... I mean, there's one in here that's, it's not sci-fi or anything. It's just payback, and it's awesome. The one with the treasure, the Montezuma's treasure.
Sure.
And I guess it's kind of there's a curse in there, but
Yeah. It definitely had a supernatural element, but I'm definitely adding this to my pull list. And as if, okay, if you weren't sold on this book already, there's a story with art by Jack Kirby in this issue. And to me, and that was a surprise. But that's worth the price of admission alone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's all of our books this week. You want to talk about? I told you we're gonna do the.
Yeah, webcomic.
Webcomic of the week.
So last week we had the Axe Cop
limited series, President of the World.
Right.
Well, Hello Axe Cop is a webcomic.
Yeah.
And Spencer went and did some reading of that.
Yes.
You want to tell us about that?
Oh, it's fun. It's axecop.com, no hyphens, nothing, just axecop.com. It's where it started, right? It's, it's what are their names? Ethan and Malachi Nicole.
Yeah.
Malachi's a 8-year-old maybe, telling stories, and his brother's just drawing it. It's so fun.
Yeah. Go to axecop.com, read, laugh, enjoy.
Yeah, definitely. So this has been Comic Reflections.
Yeah, it certainly has. Okay, bye.
Yeah, bye.